Perfect. Blessings, welcome forward to Reasons Right at the True Life. I'm your host, Talako the Great Toll, Instagram guru right here on Instagram. So listen, part 3 I talked about, how I got basically into the underworld, waking up now in this cavern, like a hollowed out space under the earth. That's how it appeared to me. Dark, late, it looked reddish brown in tone. The walls curved down like this. They didn't come straight down to the ground. And I noticed around me that there were bodies like, oh, I was wrapped in a cocoon, like old funeral blanket back in the days. They looked more like crocus bag, but they were thicker, heavy, right? And it was wrapped like, we were wrapped like how you wrap flour back in the days when you would have like paper bag, brown paper, you just put a pound of flour and wrap the bag a certain way where they tuck the tops under each other and it just looked. But we were wrapped in a more round, like a more round rectangle, rounded at the top, and we were tucked into the bottom and what covered the head tucked into the side. And so we're stuck on top of each other. So when he realized that I was awake, boy, it was so shocking. And he said he was going to send me back. I said, no, don't send me back. Teach me. I mean, I think I'm here for a reason. I want to learn because I was always hungry for knowledge. That was always one of my things. Always from I was a kid, I would bore people to death. Well, I don't have to talk about from a kid. You've watched me enough to know that something's up with me and knowledge. Anyway, it was always a thing. They would ridicule me. They took me out of that space, right? Well, let me describe like the other rooms that, as best I could, that first experience. So, no doors, just a hollowed out space like that. So when he took me out of that, and then I came out now, and I go into the corridor now, right? It would have more rooms the same, right? Going down like a lot. It's like you're in the catacombs, if people know what the catacombs are, right? And I don't know how many bodies really fit into that room at first, but I know the room is probably like, they're more rectangular. So width is probably like, maybe 10 feet wide, 16 feet long, and they would go like that, corridors upon corridors. Anyway, they took me and put me in this room that was bigger. No, it was the same length as that room, but there was a viewing platform, like a glass separation, with the beings a little bit higher than me, and I was down inside. So I was like the observational laughing stock. So I would be there many times, and they would come and say, "Here is he who comes here, whatever by mystic, and says he wants wisdom, he wants knowledge, he wants this, so he can be like Michael Jackson and Steve Jobs. He wanna be on top of the world." And they would mock me, on top of the world. He wants to be special. He thinks he's important. Come on, let us cheer. Here is a special man who thinks he's very poor. Hey! And they would mock me, and they would jeer me, and they would jeer me, and they would mock me. But every time they'd come and ask me the same question, so why are you here? I said, well, I'm just interested to learn. Teach me. If I'm here, it must be for a reason. I want knowledge, I want wisdom, I want understanding. And they'll do the same thing, hallelujah, over and over again. You want to be like Steve Jobs, Michael Jackson. I can say more people too, But I'm not saying them because they're still alive and they're still here. A lot of them are. Not afraid of them, not even by a long shot. But when you don't have to say certain things, you don't have to say it. You get what I'm saying? But in due time, all of them will be exposed. But anyway, further on. So that was the experience I was going through until finally, maybe about 3 years on in this experience, the guardian, whoever he was, to me he was just this person who talked to me the most. He revealed himself to be death, And before that, maybe death to me was like, oh, the angel of death. But this is not the being that is in heaven. And people refer to that being as the angel of death that will take the souls up. This being is the being that is in hell. And he refers to himself as death itself. Do you understand? Death itself. And this being would be the accountant, the one that keeps a track of all the souls, hallelujah, that comes into the underworld, that comes into the bowels of Hades, Tartarus, or whatever else you refer to it as, right? Or the bosom of Abraham. He's the accountant. And so he decided, they came to consensus that, well, teach him. And so I was allowed to leave that enclosure. And, he began showing me just certain parts. And I don't have all of the memories as I experienced them. So some parts are missing, and some parts I catch on to because they're too vivid not to. But I remember the very first lesson, it cannot be forgotten. The very first thing that spoke to me about, because he said, you love like wisdom, and he said, that's what you want. He said, it is life that contains life and death. Because death cannot contain life and itself. So, first thing I learned, how much necromancy is a power of death and destruction, and how it is connected to money, which Jamaicans call obia. So one of the most powerful science, and that is literally like the religion of the dead itself. All of them will do it is the religion of the dead. It's literally, we could call it devilism, hellism, whatever you want to call it, because I know people say them smart. Anyway, that's the first lesson I learned, you know. And so I was able to go now into hell, and finally I was able to interact with other of the inhabitants now, you know, because I guess they could say I was auditing the system, because I was there but I didn't really belong there. So I guess a lot of the beings I met kind of saw me like part of their, like, you know, their connection to the life or the soul that they used to experience, that they did feel darkness. I mean, that we had something in common, but it's like I can't do this part without being really emotional. It's like they could feel a little bit of them humanity, hallelujah, still in me. And I mean love and joy, but it wasn't that I was full of love and joy. It was like the simplest thing that was of the scent of the living, because part of my being was still alive in this reality. That was what, you know, some people said they were feeding on it, but made some of them want to be my friend. I met 3 friends, and they were kind of like deformed by the experience of being in hell. You know, it would deform their body shape and made them look kind of a bit weird. This one might be a little longer because we have to go say this all in one video, so you don't drag over into that. Yeah, deformed their forms, and I remember their favorite spot to hang out was the swamp. Not because they liked the swamp, but the swamp was close to the orchard, right? And the orchard story won't be spoken in this one. I'll speak the orchard story in one of the next one, because that's how the transformation starts.